This video is an introduction to ratio and proportion, and we're going to answer first of all these two questions. What is ratio and what is proportion? So first of all, ratio. Ratio compares the size of quantities. This means that ratios show how much bigger one thing is than the other, whereas proportion compares the relationship between two sets of quantities. What this means is that two things are in proportion when a change in one causes a related change in the other. First of all, writing ratios. Here we have a little diagram that compares stickmen. Now we have 4 blue stickmen and we have 3 red stickmen. So we can use ratios to compare the numbers of different stickmen, 4 to 3. And this symbol is the symbol for ratio between the two sets. So we put a little colon there. What this means is that for every 4 blue stickmen, there will be 3 red stickmen. And this is the basics of how we write it. So we put the number for one side, the number for the other, with a colon in between. And that's the basics of how to write ratio. Now let's look at this question. This is a standard sort of question that you might be asked about ratio. Now in this question, we've got our ratio, and it's relating to flour and sugar, so the ratio will be written in the same order as the question. The question asks us what the weight of the sugar is, what the weight of the flour is, based on the sugar being 50 grams. How much does the flour weigh? Well, first of all, we need to remember that a ratio compares the size of quantities. We know that this 2 is equal to 50. The easiest way to work out ratio is always to draw a diagram. So here is my diagram for this ratio, 3 to 2. Now, I know that this section here of my sugar is worth 50 grams. So if these two boxes are equal, we'll also notice that if these two boxes are equal and together they are worth 50 grams, that means each one, dividing it equally by 2, will be 25 grams. Now the important thing to remember here, if this box is worth 25 and this box is worth 25, so is this one, so is this one, so is this one. So our flour, which is this section here, which is 3, is going to be 3 times by 25 grams, which gives us 75 grams. So our flour weighs 75 grams. That's our answer, and this here is the best way to work it out. Draw a diagram. And remember, to work out what we have here, there are 5 parts. That's important to note. There are 5 parts, 3 plus the 2. The total number of parts for this calculation, there are 5. So the total weight of flour and sugar together would be 25 times 5. The reason that this is important to note that the 5 parts here is that not only can we use ratio to work out this part if we know this part, we can also use ratio to work out, if we know what this total is, what one of these parts would be. I'll show you what I mean. Here we have another type of question about ratio. This one's based on a real-world application for ratio, where we're mixing fuel for a 2-stroke engine. We have a 5-litre container or a jerry can of fuel for a 2-stroke engine. Fuel for 2-stroke engines is mixed at a ratio of 32 parts fuel to 1 part oil. This doesn't matter on the size of the container, this is just the ratio. Our container has 5 litres in it, which is 5,000 millilitres. How much oil should there be put into this container? Well, the way to work that out is to think, right, okay, I've got 5,000 millilitres and not 32 parts, but 33, because we're thinking about the container as a whole has 32 parts fuel and 1 part oil. That's 33 parts in total. So, as I said, 33 parts in total. 5 litres is 5,000 millilitres, so we take 5,000 millilitres, we divide it by 33, and that gives us the answer of 151.5-ish. Go. Rounded to 2 decimal places. And to perform this calculation, you can use any method you like. There are other videos posted to help you with those. But that would tell us how much oil to put in the container. If we need to know in millilitres how much fuel we put in, we simply times this by 32, because remember it's 1 part oil and 32 parts fuel. Okay, and that is the simple calculation, and this would change depending on the size of the container. And so that is a basic introduction to ratio and proportion, explaining what it is, how it works, and how to do basic calculations with it.